Welcome to Farm Year Daily, a field-forward podcast. I'm your host, David Geiger. Today on Farm Year Daily, a conversation about adding value to production. Scott Ahrenholtz with AcreEdge joins us to talk about enhancing and planning for a modern crop. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at FieldForwardPod. We would love to have you join our community, keeping folks informed about what is affecting our farmers. This is Farm Year Daily. And joining me on Farm Year Daily, we're going to take a look at some of the AcreEdge opportunities that exist out there with Scott Ahrenholtz, the technical sales manager of AcreEdge. Scott, thank you so much for joining us on Farm Year Daily. Excited to talk to you about this. And just for folks listening in, if they haven't heard of it, could you just briefly describe what AcreEdge is and what it does?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for allowing me to be part of this morning, David. So when you think about AcreEdge, so agriculture as a whole, there's a lot of products and a lot of things that it takes to raise a yield today. I mean, we need the soils, we need seed, we need crop protection, we need crop nutrients, things like that. AcreEdge is actually a value-added line that doesn't specifically need to be utilized to produce crops today. What it does is it actually enhances and helps with that crop to perform better. What I'm talking about is this value-added agronomy product line is designed to help reduce environmental stresses. It is there to enhance other products. It's a nutrient enhancement. You know, when you look at nutrients and as they're applied to the soils or to the plants themselves, there's a lot of inefficiencies that come with that. And we look at products and bring products on board that actually will enhance those. Part of this portfolio is actually manufactured through AcreEdge. We've got a manufacturing facility in Boone, Iowa. It's a distribution manufacturing facility, and a lot of our foliar nutritions and a lot of our starter fertilizers are actually manufactured here. So there's a lot of benefits that come to our growers based on that. So when you look at the actual AcreEdge portfolio, I look at it, and there's actually five different pillars that they actually are housed in. So we've got our seed treatments. These are going to be private labeled products that we will include a biostimulant or enhancement product that goes with it. These are treatments that can go on soybeans. They could be over treatment on corn. They're also in-box treatments that really help drive and get that crop up out of the ground and help it deal with those early season stresses. We also manufacture starter fertilizers. Our starter fertilizers are going to include some nutrient solubilizing technology that goes with it. And then we also have a full line of foliar nutrition. So when you look at soil nutrition, you know, how can we help that plant during peak uptake periods, during stress periods, things like that. We've got a foliar nutritional package that has a biostimulant with it that is actually proprietary to Landis, and we'll talk probably a lot greater about that here in a little bit. We also have a full line of adjuvants, and one of those adjuvants we actually manufacture that has a biostimulant with it, and then fertilizer enhancements, and those fertilizer enhancements are going to include nitrogen stabilizers, P&K enhancement products, stock degradation products, things like that. Now, our enhancement products are private label products. When you look at the AcreEdge portfolio, the ones that are more proprietary and more specific to AcreEdge are going to be our foliar nutritions and our starters. So,
Scott, I have a bunch of questions after what you just said there. I'd love to dive in it. But before I do want to just go over, why are you passionate about AcreEdge? Because you seem like you have a lot to say about it. And I just want to know what makes you interested in this. What's the feedback you get from folks?
I've spent 28 years in the retail ag sector. I also spent more recently, I was on 7 years. I worked on the manufacturing side. I worked for a nutrient use efficiency company, and that 7 years I worked for that nutrient use efficiency company, it really brought me to really the passion that I bring to AcreEdge. When you look at the industry today, and when I do a meeting with growers or salespeople, I'll ask them, what is the yield potential of a bag of corn? You could take the the best bag of corn that's out there today, and what is the yield potential in that? Same thing with soybeans, and you get a lot of feedback. But you look at the world record of corn, it's 620 some bushels the acre. You look at the world record of soybeans, I think it's 218. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 218 bushels. So point being this, that the yieldability of that crop is a lot greater than that, because those are bushels being produced today, right? So my passion really comes from this. So the biggest detriment that we see to yieldability, before I go down that road, let me say this. When we look at the crops that we raise today, and I don't care if you're raising potatoes, sugar beets, corn, soybeans, any of those, we only recognize a small percentage of what that full yield potential is. And the number that hangs in my head is that 25%. Where's it gone? It's lost to biotic stresses and abiotic stresses. Biotic stresses is done by living stresses, right? It's the weeds, it's the diseases, it's those things that do that. Well, that's a smaller piece of the pie, because our producers today do a very, very good job of investing in herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, things like that. A bigger piece of the pie is lost done to biotic stresses. What are biotic stresses come from? They are caused by non-living things. It's environmental stresses. It's the weather. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too wet. It's too dry. It's nutrient stresses. And by the way, the nutrient is also stimulated or dictated by what the environmental conditions are. The research and the development of products today in the bioag world and things of that such are coming forward and actually developing innovations that can help plants overcome these stresses. And that's what I'm passionate about, because that's the biggest piece of the pie. And I think that's where the future yield preservation is actually going to come from, is actually controlling that. Now, we can't control Mother Nature, can we? We don't have pivots here in Iowa. We don't have greenhouses over the field. But there are certain products out there that if we apply them and use them right, they can help the plants overcome. And, we can take little bites out of that abiotic stress piece and return on investment.
Forgive me if I'm overreaching in kind of my interpretation of what you just said there, but I think a lot of what you just talked about involves kind of a passion about efficiency, right?
Yes.
I have things where I care about efficiency, and sometimes I don't really care too much at all. But just as an example, I think of like a commute, right? Where you go, I don't want to, spend too much time getting to work, but, gonna get up and then, I'm going to choose to make toast today. That's going to save me a couple minutes from cooking up some eggs or something. And then now I'm going to take, this route to work, because even though it's a little longer, there's like a 50% less chance of getting into traffic because I'm going that specific route. And each of these decisions that you make as you go about your day, as you go about, agriculture with your crop that season, involves a little tiny bit of maybe a slightly more efficient or slightly less efficient decision. And at the end of the day, it ends up being big or little depending on what you chose to do. And that's really interesting to me when I think about just the tiny little decisions you make ending up being a big decision at the end of the day. Is that kind of where you're coming from?
It is. It exactly is. And how can we take those type of innovations and bring those to our customers to make sure that they can best choose that route, right? As they're planning that out, the thing that we don't know is what stresses are actually going to happen. How can we position products or recommendations to make sure that they're focused on return on investment and it's getting where they want to go. You bring up the efficiencies. The other part is really solving that agronomic problem, right? How we need to bring that value to our customers, that's solving a problem. It's easy to use and they can understand it. And that's another thing that drives my passion with it is we can't control Mother Nature, but if we can control how a plant responds to it, or if we can help them pick the best route to work, and stop by McDonald's and get the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, then yeah, that's what makes my day.
Right. I was at the Integrated Crop Management Conference hosted by ISU Extension last week, and something I was talking with some of the folks working with agronomy this year was just it's extremely difficult in agriculture because you can have even a variety of test fields and general knowledge of how things work and how effective they are. But because of weather, soil types, conditions that may be normal or abnormal, it can just work or not work. It can be tremendous or it could be not effective at all, depending on which farm you do it on and which location you do it on. How do you work with something like that over at AcreEdge when you're dealing with so many different types of folks?
Yeah, and great point. And the thing we think about is for us to be successful, we've got to return on investment for our customers, right? There's if they utilize that, there needs to be a reason or response to the crop that caused them to do that, and there's no silver bullets, right? There's not one product that one size fits all, things like that. So we've actually we've got two farms here in central Iowa that we actually test our products on, and we continue to work on what that prescriptive recommendation is. Right, in this environment, we need to have this product at this rate to help make sure that we're driving the right product in the right environment, things like that. We also have an MAT trial, which is a market awareness trial, to where we get products to our customers. They utilize them in large fields in the environments in which they farm in. We try to take the variability out of those by putting in replicated plots, and then we share that with our customers to make sure they're making the right decisions. So,
Scott, I wanted to scoot to what we were talking about at the very beginning of this conversation, involving some of the opportunities and efficiencies that you guys work with. When it comes to what you offer to producers and how you work with them, you talked about making sure things are using what's there a bit better. I know technology has advanced a lot to have mediums where there are actual molecules that just travel through the plant faster, and so you can use certain products and they get into the plant more efficiently. And sometimes it's just timing or it's just knowledge of when to use them. Are you guys using kind of all of those practices or specifically focused on one in particular?
So with AcreEdge, in a lot of cases, we're not the company that actually is producing maybe that innovation or that product. What's unique about AcreEdge is we're actually partnering up with companies that have these innovations and bring that to us to help educate and deliver to our customers. We want to make sure that we're bringing the best technologies, the most efficient technologies, the products that work the best. So we're not always the first to the farm gate with that new technology. Again, we want to make sure that it's proven, things like that. But we want to make sure that we're also partnered with partners that bring us those type of innovations. So when we look at nutrient enhancement products, things like that. An example of that, David, is this. A lot of the micronutrients in the past have been chelated. There's a chelation process that makes them more efficient when they're applied to the soil. It also helps them when they're foliar fed, things like that. Well, there's also some new technologies out there today that you can complex these micronutrients with different compounds that make them more usable, things like that. We're actually going to introduce a product here this spring to where we're going to have a foliar applied micronutrient that is better absorbed through the leaf tissue and will get delivered through the plant more efficiently than it would be if it was chelated. So more to come on that. But yes, we're looking for those technologies that help those efficiencies and bring the greatest thing to our customers.
What would you say in talking about your customers would be the most talked about point when they give you feedback of what the service you provide gives them?
I think it comes back to the stress mitigation, right? We've got a whole portfolio of products, and not all of them are focused on stress mitigation. But when you look at our foliar nutritions, one of our adjuvants, and our starter fertilizers, it's helping them overcome things that we don't control today with what those normal inputs are, right? If we're buying the seed treatment, the nutrients, the seed protection, we're protecting from those. We're protecting from stresses, right? But we're not protecting from environmental stresses, and that's where our products really will set themselves apart from what they're purchasing to raise crops today.
So when it comes to some of those environmental measures, then what do you guys like to do? What would just walk me through what consultation might look like when you approach a farm?
Yeah, so one of our compounds is actually a biostimulant. It comes from kelp extracts. Kelp extracts along with an amino acid complex. When we think about kelp extracts, these kelp extracts are actually broke down by the natural biology that breaks them down in nature today, that's what is actually utilized. When we apply these compounds foliar to a crop, they work inside the crop by upregulating and downregulating genes. So when that plant becomes under environmental stresses, it's able to overcome those greater than they wouldn't. And then we also have amino acid complex that will help that plant stimulate and be more efficient with nutrients. So I say that when I explain that to a customer, here's how I relate it to them. Our kelp extracts are a vitamin. So if you or I were to take a vitamin today, what does it do to our body? It helps build our immune systems, right? So if we get exposed to the common cold, we might exhibit symptoms, but the symptoms aren't near as bad as what they are as if we weren't taking the vitamins. To me, the kelp extracts, when they applied to the crops, are doing a similar thing to where when that plant is exposed to environmental stresses, it has an impact, but it has a less impact than it would have if we're not applying those kelp extracts. The actual amino acid complexes, they act as an energy drink within that plant. Or to me, I don't drink energy drinks, David. I actually have to have my cup of coffee. And if my wife would tell you this, if I didn't have my cup of coffee every morning, my day wouldn't be very productive. I have that cup of coffee, I'm fairly productive through the day. That same thing with the amino acids. You apply those to the plant, it helps that plant do it naturally, does it more efficiently. So this product, when applied to the plant, is going to have an offensive and defensive characteristic. So back to your, what is the optimum environment you want to put this on? Again, we want to diversify that, knowing that we can't fully predict Mother Nature. We could have an offensive environment, but we'll still see a response from it because we're going to help that plant be more efficient with nutrients. If it's a little bit more defensive or we're exposing that plant to a common cold, we're going to give it that vitamin to help overcome that. So again, if you're to talk to our customers today, I think they would talk about, we really help them. We don't weather protect. We help the plant overcome some of those stresses, but we're also able to put it into terms that they can relate to it and understand it and apply it to their cropping practices.
As a final thought, as we move into a new year, what is something that you're really looking forward to when it comes to the technology you're working with? Or maybe it's just something that is becoming more and more prevalent or useful within your side of the industry?
Yeah, there's, when you look at this bioag space and products like our crop power that actually can help mitigate stress, that can help with nutrient efficiency in the soil, things like that. There's a lot of products out there today. The thing that excites me is the partnerships that we have and the products that we actually can bring. We're actually going to launch a product this winter that actually can be soil applied with your herbicides, with your weed and feeds. When they could be applied in furrow with your starter. They could be applied side dress. What this compound actually does is it actually helps stimulate the bacteria in the soil to where we're creating the enzymes and the solubilization technology that will help free up some of the nutrients that is not available to crop today. It also will have an amino acid package that will help keep it in a form usable longer to the plant. So, excited for looking at those new innovations and solutions that we can help customers do what they do. Just try to take some of the peaks and valleys out of it the best we can.
Scott, if folks were listening in today and they wanted to learn a little bit more, get into contact with you or the folks you work with, what would be the best ways to contact you or the folks at AcreEdge?
Yeah, so you actually can reach me via email and also my supervisor, so Wade Kent, who is the general manager of AcreEdge. He also is, by education, is excellent with technical resource for these recommendations. My email address is Scott, SCOTT.AHRENHOLTZ @landis.ag. And Wade's email is Wade, WADE .Kent, KENT @landis.ag. Also, feel free to reach out, send us an email, and we would gladly converse with you. So,
Scott Ahrenholtz is a technical sales manager with AcreEdge, joining us on Farm Here Daily. Scott, thank you so much for your time. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Here too, David. Thank you.
This is Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Again, in order to continue to produce this type of local content, we would love to have you join our community, so please follow the podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward Pod. You can also find me on social media at Geiger Reports. Again, I'm your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody.